if you buy real estate, you're actually losing money. But people don't realize that. And so the entire game is how do I beat the hurdle rate? And it's NASDAQ or Bitcoin. Things become more expensive because you cannot just print money and think there's going to be no consequences.
Welcome back to Trezor Talks, everybody. I'm here with Kevin Follonier, is our guest today. He's the founder of many different companies, from what I understand, data analytics, media companies. But the thing I know you most for is When Shift Happens, the YouTube channel where you typically do podcast interviews with everybody. I think that's what, whenever I hear your name, that's what I hear it paired to. So like that's the thing that I know best. But you can give us an introduction as well. If there's any other details you want to throw in there.
Just a Swiss dude from the countryside who's trying to operate with good values in an industry full of people with not necessarily the best values.
Yeah.
And actually, it makes the whole thing much easier, I would say. Because if you have long-term values, try to do the right thing, try to do quality, in crypto, you stand out automatically. And if you're consistent. Right? In crypto, people are not consistent. People realize they can make too much money by doing low quality stuff or questionable stuff. And so if you do the right thing, you will be recognized by the people who are like the true OGs and who realize, hey, actually, our industry really needs to look more credible. We have a big image problem outside of our industry.
Yep.
How do we make all of us look better? And that's one of the things that we're trying to do, basically.
Man, that is something that I feel like I've been pushing that message for ages, and I never hear anyone else say it. I'm like, we need to have like a more like reputable kind of just the way we're viewed by the community and by society, because like so much of it is like, I mean, the memes and the degen stuff is funny. Or like, I don't know, that's like a whole part of crypto culture, but I'm like, it's not really good for, I think, the perception that cryptocurrency has. So it's like, I've for the longest time been like, am I crazy? Or like, is there anyone else who feels this way? Because that's exactly how I felt for like the longest time.
Yeah, that's what I called the circle jerk before, right?
Yes.
It's just that.
It's not really getting outside of some of these. You do tend to see like a lot of the same like names and faces sometimes when you get into it.
Well, think about it. How are we seen by people outside? Most people in the industry would say, yeah, we're so cool, or you don't understand. Actually, I don't remember if it was Hal Finney or Satoshi himself who was saying, if you don't have time to understand, I don't have time to explain it to you.
He's like, yeah, I don't have time to explain it to you. Yeah.
That's fucking fucked up, right? Maybe it's cool because like you're so smart, but like that's not how you get people in this industry. And the problem is like today, not only we're kind of like that, but on the top we're kind of weird degens with our own jokes. And so what's the result of that? A year ago, after Token 2049 in Singapore, which is this big crypto conference in Singapore, probably one of the largest of the year, I went to Bali at 7 a.m. and I went to get a coffee, and there was these two American girls who came and said, hey, where's the gate to go to Bali? Do you know? Yeah, it's there. And then we started to talk, and they're asking me what I do. And I'm like, oh... right? And I'm like, oh, so I say, I run a media company. I run a data company and a media company.
Use safe words.
And then, what in media? And I say, I run a podcast.
It's
already
slowly,
that. Podcast,
slowly inching
because
towards
podcast
it.
became a big trend, whatever. But it's kind of, I think, less and less already now. In crypto. And then what did they say? So you're a crypto bro.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Of course.
wow. Like, you see? And I'm like, not really, actually. I don't consider myself as a crypto bro.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to get interested because you are missing out on the biggest freaking opportunity for investment, wealth building, and all that stuff, right? And you're missing out because you think we're lame, and you have every reason to think we're lame because we are lame. Here we are, right?
Yeah.
So we have this massive image problem, for sure. And the only thing you have to do to realize that we have this massive image problem is to go and talk to people who are not in crypto.
Yeah. Dude, it's really it's really refreshing to hear that viewpoint. Because so often I just feel like it's just not acknowledged. And that story is so relatable. Like after I got this job, I've been like a Trezor fan for a long time. And I've been into Bitcoin since it was the 2017 bull run at the end of the year. I was that wave where a lot of people came in. And I didn't really talk about it a lot. There were conversations here and there, but because of this reputation, I've always kept it kind of quiet. And then especially with this job, I love Trezor. I love self-custody. I love talking about Bitcoin, but I've realized it's like a conversational landmine when you go out into the world. And especially, what do you do for work is one of the most common like questions that you get.
And if you're trying to get a girl, right?
Don't bring it up.
What do you
Don't
say,
talk
right?
about it. Yeah, I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 years now, and I'm like, I'm holding on to this. This is so we got a good thing here. Let's not try to mess
Don't break
with anything.
up. Yeah, you're not gonna have another chance,
Yeah.
or not anytime soon.
Well, I was gonna say I don't get. I told you just off camera actually before we started, but I don't get podcasters on here very often. You're actually the first from outside the company, outside from Trezor, who's like really. Like, that's the main thing you do. Well, I don't know. That's what I thought, actually, until you told me about all the other things. I don't know how you manage that much, actually. But I do have so many podcast questions for you, first of all. And, yeah, of course, crypto and Bitcoin as well. But with, I guess, the first non-podcast question I have is, like, how did you get involved in the beginning? Because this your channel obviously developed over time, but what was it that sparked things for you and kind of pointed you in that direction from the beginning?
Crypto or podcasting media?
Yeah, the crypto, Bitcoin. That is, I assume, where it started.
Yeah,
before you move towards it.
So I studied until 2015, and then I built my first company right after that in London.
So straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
It was like company time.
Yeah. My data company in London from 2015 to 2018.
Oh, yeah. You said 10 years. So that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Good business. Good cash cow, but a consulting company. So it's not something where you build crazy equity and become rich and retire. And I had crazy health issues. So I had to stop everything, and we had to sell the company because there was no other co-founder who was kind of a business development person. So we sold the company, got some cash, good cash for 20, I think I was 26, but not enough to retire. So I had this like stack of cash, and I was like, it was late 2018, early 19, and I was thinking I might never be able to work ever again in my life because I was so fucked up because of like a medicine I took that killed my hormones and made me in a terrible place. And I was thinking I need to find a place, a depressed market, to invest all this money, to compound it, so in case I can never work again, I'm retired, basically. And so I remembered, that was late 2018. I remembered that a year before there was this crazy crypto bubble, 2017, right? Late 17, early 18. But no one was talking about crypto anymore, late 2018. And I was like, I need to go and have a look. And 4 years before that, I did a master degree in Madrid, and we had an entire week on Bitcoin, late 2014. And so during that week, the very last hour, we had a guy who came to talk about Bitcoin. He was very smart, very bright, very self-confident, a bit of an asshole, to be honest. And he ended up
the crypto bro that we talked about.
Well,
before?
he was more like the Bitcoin bro, right? Like the true Bitcoiner at heart. And he ended up his presentation by saying Bitcoin is the new internet. And that's October 2014. And I had my idea already to finish my master's and build my data company. So I kind of discarded the whole thing, right? But it stuck in my mind. So 4 years later, I'm like, I need to find this dude. I need to find this dude. So I went back on...
so not just Bitcoin. You're like, I got to find that guy.
Well, I need to find this guy because he said Bitcoin is the new internet. And now Bitcoin is kind of dead, but I think he might have been onto something, right? So I go online, I find him, and I say, can we have a coffee? He says yes. He was based in Madrid. I took a plane for a 15-minute coffee, and it turned into a 2 hours conversation. I mean, mostly monologue. He was talking to me about Bitcoin. And I was like, holy shit, this makes so much sense. And he told me he said, read 2 books, The Bitcoin Standard by Andreas Antonopoulos, and The Internet of Bitcoin Standard by Sev Dinamos, and The Internet of Money by Andreas Antonopoulos, which is more on Ethereum. I read both books within probably 2-3 weeks, and then I was like, I need to invest half of my money in Bitcoin, half of my money in ETH. That's early 2019.
So you went deep.
So actually, it was like a very good timing because of luck. because early 19 was like the bottom of the bear market.
Yes.
Bitcoin was like 3.4, 3.5K.
Yeah.
ETH, I don't remember, 100 something. And it made complete sense to me directly because I never trusted the system. That's why I built companies. I never trusted the system. I never trusted that anything works. When I was at uni, I thought you're going to go to work in a job, in a corporation, everything's going to work. Adults are serious people. They understand what they're doing.
That's exactly
and then
I thought too.
Then I go to an internship or two. I never worked in my life for a boss, except I had 2 internships. And doing these 2 internships, 3 months each, in Hong Kong and Singapore. Before my master, so between my bachelor and master, I realized nothing works. Which is why I built the first company. The data company was to solve problems we had in this huge $10 billion revenue per year company to solve the problem there. And so fast forward a couple of years, I have this money. I read the Bitcoin standard. I'm like, holy shit, this makes so much sense. For someone who doesn't believe in the system and in anything, right? Xavier Namus is a legend. And 80% of the book is actually not about Bitcoin at all. It's about the evolution of money, to understand what's good money, what's not good money.
Just understanding how money works?
Absolutely. So basically, Bitcoin makes you think about money. What is money? What is good money? What is sound, unsound money? And you're like, oh my God, this might be the thing. All my life, I wanted to always be the best and build businesses, all that stuff. And I was like, I wish I was born earlier, so in the late 90s, early 2000s, internet age, I can invest in all this stuff. But it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? It's too late. And when I read that, I was like, maybe this is the new internet. Like maybe this is our generation chance to make it big. Or probably this is our generation chance to make it big, right? The next big thing. So I just went all in. And that's how I started Bitcoin crypto journey, early 19.
Yeah, that's, man, yeah, a lot of the stuff you said is like exactly what I've thought and felt over the past few years because it was, and actually, you know, what's funny, we just before these episodes are going to come out at different times, but we just finished our podcast with Lena, our Trezor partner, who makes these plushies up here. She mentioned those exact same 2 books because that is also where her journey began. She said she started with Internet of Things, and that was the one that made her start thinking about things. And that was like a whole point, a whole thing we talked about is like a lot of people either have no idea how money works or they just like are unwilling. They just kind of accept that the system is running as it is without questioning any of the flaws or any of the problems. And until you think of that, it's like a huge thing is just awareness, like just thinking about it in the first place because you don't. You just like move about your life using the established system. And now there's an answer for something that solves a lot of the problems that we have.
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of people don't have the luxury to even think, right? You're trying to make, I mean, because of how the system is designed, everything's becoming crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we have basically the entire framework of Raoul Pal is very good for that to understand. I mean, he's the one who's been talking about it for a few years. Now more and more people are kind of joining this. It's obviously, people call that the great debasement trade, right? Gold and Bitcoin. But if you read the Bitcoin standard many years ago, you understood that a long time ago. Bitcoiners understood a long time ago, and they've been basically front-running the trade, right? But at the same time, what's happening? It's wage deflation. So the wages are not going up fast enough compared to asset price inflation. The real cost of retirement, right? What is retirement? Is I work all my life, I accumulate enough assets to be able one day to live off interest or dividend or whatever, right? The problem of how the system is designed is there is so much money being printed all the time that you cannot just look at inflation, average basket, whatever, becoming more expensive, but also you need to look at asset price inflation, right? Because you need to acquire these assets, but they're becoming more and more expensive because they're fixed assets and there's more and more money printed. So obviously the value will go up much faster. So you need to work longer or forever, or you cannot retire, right? And so there's this concept of hurdle rate, which is inflation plus asset price inflation, right? Inflation, let's say 3-4% a year. People who think like that and think just about that, they're actually getting screwed without knowing it. There's the people who don't even think about all this stuff, they're getting screwed. They don't save money or they save just cash, get screwed. Then the people who say, I'll save some money and I'll buy some bonds or stocks or S&P 500, and I'm doing the right thing, right? Well, you were, but you're not anymore, because S&P 500 average return 8, 10, 12%. But if you look at actual hurdle rate, inflation plus asset price inflation, it's 12 to 15% every year, which means that every year, if you just buy S&P 500, you're actually losing money. If you buy real estate, you're actually losing money. But people don't realize that. And so the entire game is, how do I beat the hurdle rate, which is 12 to 15%, depending on who you're talking to. And it's NASDAQ or Bitcoin. NASDAQ about 17%, Bitcoin about, 50, 100, 150%. And then when you start to understand that, you have the light bulb. And I think most people just don't understand that.
Yeah, then it's pretty hard to then go out and talk to people and be like, hey, there's this massive revolutionary thing, trust me.
Well, I'm talking to my girlfriend. She's like, you should buy a flat, so you should buy a villa, you should buy a house. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I just buy Bitcoin.
No.
That is the
Bitcoin. Classical. I mean,
I can rent a flat or a house or whatever, because with the down payment, I can make so much better, because real estate doesn't outperform the hurdle rate at all, right? And so it's all this concept. I'm on the top of freedom and not having a very liquid asset, all that. But having this conversation is going to get more and more kind of common in the next few years, right? Our parents don't understand that, because they got rich with real estate. And honestly, they don't care. They have their houses, it's fine, right? But their real estate is our Bitcoin or crypto, but Bitcoin is much safer and is their real estate, right?
Yeah.
And so that's digital real estate, physical real estate.
Yeah, it's not exactly accessible these days, the real estate market.
But that's the thing. But why?
Yeah.
Because of wage deflation, fiat currency devaluation, because of how the system is designed. And the exact reason why Bitcoin was invented in late 2008, early 2009 is exactly this. And people
it was all directly
related
to the housing crash. That's precisely the same theme of why it was created in the first place.
Absolutely. It's because someone or someone's understood the system and realized that every time there's a crisis, there's money printed, or every time there's a war to fund, there's money printed.
Yeah.
And if money is printed infinitely, every money is going down versus fixed assets. And I think the average lifespan of a fiat currency is 27 years. The other day I was talking to someone, I don't remember who, on my podcast, a very smart person, but I had too many lately. But they were saying Swiss franc is down 80% over the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And dollar is down 95%.
Yeah.
In terms of purchasing power.
It's almost 1 to 100.
And these are the best fiat currencies, right?
Yeah. There was a global reserve.
Well, and now if you think about the hurdle rate, right? 15% per year. Every year you're losing 15%. What does that mean concretely? Let's say you have $10 million, right? Let's say, because some people say, I need to retire with 10 million or 1 million or 100 million, whatever number you take. Let's say 10, right? If you keep your 10 million in cash, you think I'm safe, right? What does that mean? After 3 to 4 years, you lost half of your purchasing power. So your kind of $10 million become 5. After 10 years, it's basically worth 0 because of the compounding of the hurdle rate, right? And people don't understand that.
Yeah, it's not really a concept that you hear come up super often. People talk about inflation, it just kind of stops there. Versus asset inflation as well, and those things compounding. It's not a part of most, I don't know, it's not something you'd hear at a dinner party, but I do feel like Bitcoin is something that has sparked people pursuing that education to some degree. And now you're seeing it with this word of mouth spreading. It's
not something that you hear at a dinner party, but what you probably hear at a dinner party that then becomes a dinner less of a party is everyone is stressed. People understand there's a problem.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm working like crazy.
You hear the
I make
symptoms.
Decent money, but I don't save any fucking money.
Yeah.
I'm not able to get towards my goals. I'm not able to buy a flat or a house. I'm not able to, like, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand where it's coming from, but they understand there's a freaking problem.
Yeah.
And I would even add now, I travel a lot to make this podcast happen. And the plane tickets are fucking crazy expensive compared to a few years ago. The hotels, the food, like you go to the US, you take a Uber, it's $100 for 15 minutes. Every like a hotel night for like a decent hotel is like $500 to $700 a night. Like nothing makes sense. Like nothing makes sense. And then you realize, oh, but wait. 4 or 5 years ago, COVID happened and they printed just in a year or whatever, less than a year, 40% more dollars. Now it makes sense. Well, things become more expensive because you cannot just print money and think there's going to be no consequences, right? And so that's the problem. And it's just getting worse and worse because the system is designed like that.
Yeah, we went to America last year. It was my first trip after being gone for almost 3 years. Just coming back for the summer.
Probably a huge difference.
Yeah, we went to breakfast one morning. I went out with my friends. I heard it was a good place. It was like a plate with like, it was like your typical American breakfast with just like pancakes, eggs, bacon, and like a sausage or something. And it was good. It was super tasty. It wasn't like a fancy restaurant, but it was like $19. And I was like, what is this? I was talking to my friends. I was like, why is it $19? And they were like, that's just how it is now.
And where was that?
It was like at your average restaurant it was near Fort Worth, Texas. That's actually where
exactly.
it was.
Because
near that.
I would tell you go to New York and you go to Joe and the Juice and you have a juice or 2 juices and it's $30, 30.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
I can't even imagine.
I'm paying $30 for 2 juices, right? Like, and then you start to realize what the hell is happening, right? And so how do people, I think I saw a tweet the other day. Someone quote tweeting themselves. So the first tweet was like, just landed in the US. Amazing. 4 hours later. How do people afford to exist here?
Yeah.
100,000 likes in 4 hours. Well, there is a problem.
And that is like, it is so interesting. I mean, kind of like what you brought up is like, in one breath, people will be like, there are all of these issues. I can barely afford food. Like you said, I make a lot of money. I'm still struggling. And then they'll be like, why are you into this Bitcoin shit? Like, it's like, that's so stupid. Like,
why gambling?
Get a real interest.
Why
like,
gambling?
Yeah. And it's like, and that's where, again, circling back on what we talked about in the beginning, that's where not being the arrogant asshole, I think, is so important. Like, you don't want to be that guy who's too cool for school. Like, you're better than everyone else. I think that is harmful to the messaging. Like, we need, like, people actually genuinely need help in a lot of cases and are looking for a way out. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to repeat all the, somehow we're having the exact same conversation I had like an hour ago with Lena on the other. I don't know how this happened, but it was like, you don't want, to spiral into the conversations this way. It's like people genuinely need help, and it's like talking about it is the only way there in a rational
That's
way.
why if I look at the data of our own podcast, I can have the founder of Ripple or the founder of Solana or the founder of Ethereum on the podcast or Coinbase or whatever, like big guests. We get good views. But the best views are the CIO of Bitwise, for example. Bitwise is one of our sponsors, but it's like this ETF company. He was the CIO of ETF.com. He's actually quite famous in kind of like the TradFi world. But what do we talk about? How to get rich boringly by just buying Bitcoin. And then he's explaining the whole thing, right? And he's explaining the problems and the solution, etc., right? And you have these extremely simple concepts explained in a very simple fashion by people who come more from the kind of like investing, traditional finance world. You'll get a lot of views. You have the founder of the biggest blockchain or in the world or the second biggest blockchain. You get good views, but it's still for nerds, right? So people will probably not click or will probably like leave early the podcast. And so you really see through the data what people actually are looking for and what they need in terms of education.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about your channel in general is like I noticed when looking at it, you guys spit out episodes like crazy.
Mm.
It is like I think when I looked at it over the weekend, it was like you had 2 3 days ago and then another one after that and then another one like day before. They're just like it's constantly coming out. Like
You looked at the craziest week, but yeah.
how much time are you spending on this? Like, what is your team capacity like? I was like, this guy has to have help with this amount of content.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, for
so
sure.
much. So what does it take to release that volume of content?
Well, we started When Shift Happens once a week, every Thursday. There's an episode going out with the biggest people in crypto, whether the biggest investors or the biggest founders of the biggest companies, once a week.
So weekly in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then because we managed to get better and better at the quality of the production and the conversation and the guests,
Mhm.
right? You build a brand. And then there's a lot of people coming and saying, can I come on your podcast? And we were just saying, no, to everyone. Not big enough. But like not big enough. Like some people who have like a protocol worth multi-billion-dollar, right? But I would say not big enough. And I'm literally nobody, right? And they probably hate us, right? But I'm telling them, we're building a business. A business needs to get better, right?
Mhm.
For us, it means better guests. We
Mhm.
can't have like a filler episode. People will be like, why do you have like the founder of Solana and then you have like a random dude that no one knows, right?
Mhm.
So we say no. At some point, earlier this year, in Jan, I think, the best ideas never come from me. They always come from community, right? So I had a coffee with a guy who reached out and said, can we have a coffee? I'm like, okay, let's have a coffee. And he says, hey, you should do drops. And I'm like, what is drops? And he's like, you interview upcoming founders and projects
Mhm.
before they launch a token, and then you drop it at TG. TG means the moment they launch their token, right? Token generation event. And I was like, actually, if we do it on the same channels, but a different branding and different t-shirt, different thumbnail color, all that stuff, we can create a new podcast where you leverage the brand of the main one, right? And kind of build a new kind of segment of the business. And this means also more episodes, right?
Mhm.
And so we decided that this one would not have sponsors, because sponsors, it means you need to do every week, because a sponsor will pay for consistency, obviously.
Mhm.
But let's try. And we had so much crazy demand. Everyone pays to come on. So we started to do with them, and we said, okay, every Tuesday there's going to be a drop. Sometimes there's not going to be a drop because sometimes we cannot, but we don't have this pressure of doing it every week. And so what happened, a couple of weeks ago, there was this token 2049 week in Singapore, and I recorded 16 podcasts in a week. And what
16.
16, yeah.
Uh-huh.
A bunch of When Shift Happens. We had Paolo, the founder of Tether, had Arthur Hayes, had the founder of Sui, and a bunch of others. And then we had a lot of these drops.
Mhm.
So this new series, shorter. And what you're seeing now, the last couple of days, is we have a lot of, so When Shift Happens is still once a week. We have a lot of these drops to release.
Mhm.
And so that's why there's more, there's
I
more of
see.
these. It's not gonna be like that all the time. It's unsustainable for me. I got pretty sick after that week. Too much work and too much running around. And even like the team now is like suffering, to be honest, like to release all these podcasts. So like you're not going to see that all the time, but sometimes, yeah, you need to sprint. And then if I sprint in creation of the content, we need to sprint in like distribution, right?
Mhm.
So that's what you've been seeing lately. But yeah, team is amazing. Yeah, they're able to work under pressure. I have an amazing COO who is like changing the whole game. He's managing everything.
Mhm.
So otherwise, it would be completely impossible.
Did you start this off by like, oh, this is just something I'm interested in and like it's a passion project, or was it with the intent of becoming like a business at some
Podcast?
point, like
So
like generating revenue?
So in 2021, so in 2020, 2021, there was this kind of COVID and then crazy money printing. If you were in crypto, then like you were making so much money by doing nothing. It was very, very insane.
Mhm.
Most people lost all of it.
Mhm.
I also lost most of it. But anyway, during that moment, I had this imposter syndrome. I was thinking, how can I make so much money by not doing anything when the world is shut down and when people are suffering, losing their jobs? It's so unfair, right? I need to do. So I was sending some Bitcoin to my ex-girlfriends and like trying to help and like complete. Everyone lost everything in Celsius and so it was all useless. But anyway, and I was thinking we need to do something for this space, right? So we started this collective of education on X and YouTube, where we're just doing some YouTube videos and some X education for free. No sponsor, no bias. Because for us, the ultimate flex was we have enough money that we don't need to have anyone paying us. Therefore, we're more credible. Because we're this bunch of dudes. I was Swiss. The other guys were like British with very good values, trying to do like the perfect thing that makes sense, right? And so it means in crypto, you don't take any money, and you give the best education. And so through that, we started to do some AMAs. And the first guy we had on an AMA was the managing director of Anchor Protocol. Anchor Protocol was this protocol on Luna, Terra Luna, that you could earn 20% on your UST, which was huge back then. Like, so we had this guy first. Fourth guest was Dokwun, the founder of Luna. It was all online. And then we had like Mashinsky, the founder of Celsius. We had all these mega protocol and companies from last cycle. And so pretty quickly I realized, oh shit, like by being a nobody, you can get these people online quickly for like an hour AMA. That's pretty cool. But we were not serious about it. There was no business idea behind it. And so everything crashed in 2022. Luna crashed like crazy. I lost a lot of money in there. Celsius crashed. Everything crashed. Everything blew up. And all these guys I had on this AMA kind of went to jail. And we all got wrecked and we were all depressed. And what happened afterwards was I was thinking, okay, I was there in 2019 in the bear market and there was literally nothing in crypto. I mean, there was Bitcoin, but like ETH, there was nothing, right? And then I saw the whole thing go crazy. So after FTX blew up in November 2022, I knew crypto would come back. It was obvious. I mean, I was very depressed and I had lost so much money, but like, it's going to come back. I did a few AMAs with these big guys. They're all in jail, but like I'm able to get some big people on despite being a nobody. I have this skill, like it's kind of networking, business development, a bit of like building momentum to get them on, etc. So I was like, okay, I'm able to do that. I can probably get better guests. And then I thought, crypto is going to come back. It's going to take some time. Media in crypto is terrible. 3 years ago. I still think it's terrible today, to be honest. And I was thinking, I need to build that place, like the Joe Rogan or Lex Fridman of crypto, where there's this safe space where I can talk with big founders. And because if I really think this industry will become big, there is a mega opportunity in becoming like one of the platforms that is this, what we call new media. Right now, podcast, live stream, like this kind of new media. You have older media, you have all these articles, all that stuff. But our generation doesn't really give a fuck about that. Now it's all about TikTok videos and YouTube shorts, all that stuff, right? And so why did I think like that? It's basically because in 2021, so a year and a half before I really started to push When Shift Happens, just after FTX crashed in. So we started When Shift Happens every week in December 2022, 1 month after FTX, right? A year and a half before that, I was in Bali for a couple of days with 3 guys. And one of them was Steven Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO. And we spent a few days together. And he was building this podcast called The Diary of a CEO. And it was already pretty big, but only in the UK, very UK focused. And I was kind of teaching him about crypto. And I was asking him, like, tell me more about this podcast. Like, what's the deal? I was trying to understand, how can you make money with a podcast, right? And he told me, not about money. He told me, 2 weeks ago, I had Liam Payne from One Direction on my podcast. And 3 weeks ago, I had Harry Styles on my podcast. 2 days after having them on my podcast, I barely knew them. They came to my studio. We recorded the podcast. We became friends. 3 days later, they invite me in their house for their birthday. And I had the freaking light bulb moment. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. By doing a podcast in studio with someone, you can get close to the biggest people on the planet. So much close that they invite you to their birthday in their house. And then I thought, I understand podcasting. It's networking on steroids, right? It's literally networking on steroids, plus many other things, personal branding, plus all that stuff, right? So I'm like, and then I watch him start to like completely blow up. I'm like, holy shit. It's not only Harry Styles anymore, but like at some point, I mean, lately, Jimmy Fallon, Michelle Obama, like literally from a fucking podcast, right? Like literally. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in crypto. How can I become a peer to the founder of Solana or Coinbase or Base or whatever? I'm not that smart. I'm not that technical. I'm not a multi-billionaire. But I look at what Steven did. Podcasting is the way, right? For some reason, if you do almost a therapy session with these people, they like you. If you do something very different than this online nerd podcast about what's the TPS, transaction per second, it's fucking boring and no one gives a fuck about, that you ask them questions about themselves, it's kind of like you play on their ego, right? They're like, holy shit, someone who's interested. And then top production quality, all that stuff, right? And so, again, 2000, FTX happens. I get fucked. Most people get fucked. I realize media is shit. And I think about Steven a year and a half ago, and I watch him the last year and a half fucking blow up, and I'm like, I need to do the same thing as Lex, who is going to do jiu-jitsu with Mark Zuckerberg. He's just a podcaster, right? Or Steven, but I need to do it in crypto. A niche where there is so much leverage and so much money that if you build this place, it's first, you're going to be a peer to these people, but second, it's probably going to be a good business, right? And so what was the thing then? You need to be in studio. You cannot build a podcast that is not in studio. I think a podcast is not in studio. It's not a podcast. Sorry. And so that's what we started to do since December 2022, once a week, every week, with a builder in the space, and try to go higher and higher and higher in terms of guest quality, etc., etc. And then you build the whole thing, right? And so that's how basically. So, and last thing, very important. In 2021, there was this NFT madness. Yeah. Right. And I had a friend of mine who lives in Dubai, who was very early in NFTs, like 2017. He just gets the trend early. And there was this thing called Clubhouse in 2021, which now has been completely replaced by Twitter Space, right? So Clubhouse was this application where people could just go and hang out in the cloud, right? And talk about something, which Twitter Space is now. And so this dude, when NFT was going so crazy, there was all the celebrities coming in. Justin Bieber buying a Bored Ape and all these guys. I think Jimmy Fallon too. And so I see him leading an NFT Clubhouse space, and Naomi Campbell is in the fucking Clubhouse and asking him questions. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. This dude is very smart, but he's a nobody like me. Because he was early in NFT, that is attracting so much attention from all these celebrities and these big people. This girl, Naomi Campbell, that everyone knows, that my parents, like everyone knows, is asking him questions. So I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Put all this a year and a half later again, FTX crash. I think about bad media quality. I think about Steven Bartlett. I think about Lex Fridman. And I think about my friend, NFT, teaching, Naomi Campbell, online stuff. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. When crypto comes back, there's going to be more celebrities coming. You need a space instead of a freaking Clubhouse where no one sees you. We need a Steven Bartlett or Lex Fridman where Naomi Campbell comes on and freaking asks questions and you educate her. And so my entire thesis was that, right? And at some point, we actually had Hasbullah on the podcast about a year ago. We released a few months ago, then we took it down because I cannot say why, but like, anyway, it was a terrible idea to do the thing. But like, I had Hasbullah on my podcast. The whole thing was anticipated basically, and it made so much sense. It's a long answer, but like at least now we have all the different reason why we started that.
Well, kind of that building is sort of exactly what I was getting at. And first of all, what I'm taking from this is that you intend to invite me to your birthday party. Is that correct? That's what's going to happen.
I don't really celebrate my birthday, but if I do,
just hit me up. Let me know. Well, that's perfect because one of the reasons I was asking about that is because I could kind of see going through the podcast episodes a lot of this development, a few different things. I'm going to show you. I have a surprise chart for you, actually, right here, hiding under. If you're watching online, can you guess what this graph? I'll actually describe this for anyone who's just listening. We have on the bottom of the chart the x-axis, the year 2022, 23, 24, 25, and on the y-axis we have 0, 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, and this line is flat for the first half up until about 2023, and then it kind of takes off and starts growing up to about, I'd say it's like 7 million-ish, 6 million something. Any guess on what this is before I tell you? You can be right or wrong, doesn't matter. I just wanted to see if you recognized the shape and the numbers.
Well, probably our YouTube views.
That is exactly correct. This is your YouTube channel, because I wanted to ask you what's going on here. Like, what happened? It was about 4 years you've had it, right? And then around halfway, there's this big blow up, and you just took off. So did something change? Did your approach change or something?
So the first 2 years is basically I'm with these other guys, and we're doing like YouTube education on some like random protocol. It's not a podcast, right? And then basically when everything blew up, we were doing education. It was called Yield Labs because everything was labs. Polygon
so
labs,
like totally
blah, blah,
different
blah.
branding as well.
So basically, as I said before, we were doing this education for free, right? And we're thinking it was called Yield Labs because everyone was calling their company Labs. And yield because last cycle, the big narrative was around yield.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so...
You like yield farming?
We were not doing all this yield farming. We could get like crazy APYs and everything, like crazy return. But we're thinking... Our thinking was we understand traditional investing, right? If I invest $500 in an S&P 500 every month for 30 years, I'll become a millionaire. Now we're thinking if we apply that to crypto, Bitcoin, ETH, and we just use Celsius or these companies that give you 5% a year on your Bitcoin, which we thought was safe, but even that was not safe, right? Because Bitcoin goes up on average 100, 150% a year every year, right? Plus you have this 5% yield that also go up on average 100% a year because it's Bitcoin, paid in Bitcoin. Instead of 30 years to retire with S&P 500 at $500 a month, maybe you need 5 or 10. You can shorten your way to retirement thanks to this amazing crypto thing. If you apply the same investing principles as you would apply in stocks. And so Yield Labs was to explain people the boring way to do crypto by buying Bitcoin and lending it on a platform for 5% a year. But if you do that regularly, probably after 5 or 10 years, you're retired instead of after 30. The whole thing was it was a good idea, but the execution was a disaster because all of these lending companies that we were kind of promoting for free because we're not taking any money, because we thought they were so good. We were actually investors in these companies. They all blew up because they all did fraud and bad shit, right? And they all lied. So Yield Labs was no more. And my 3 other guys were doing this for fun with. They got completely destroyed by all their friends. They got depressed. They said they just said, I don't want to have anything to do with the industry anymore. I'm going to keep some Bitcoin and ETH and I'm going to leave. And I think a lot of people did that in 2022. And I really understand why. And I also stopped. Before I was like a big proponent of you need to buy Bitcoin, you need to buy ETH. Is the future. I never ever told anyone anymore after what happened in 2022 to buy crypto. Ever. I never said you should buy it. Like I said, I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing. I think you should not do it because you're going to lose all your money. And I really mean it, because if you start to buy Bitcoin, you'll discover the other shit coin, and then you're going to sell your Bitcoin for the shit coin, and then you're going to get wrecked, and then you're going to fuck it up, right? Raoul Pal say, don't fuck this up. It's actually that, right? You can't, because we all have this gambling addiction, right? And we want to get rich in 2 weeks or in 1 year.
Yeah.
Who wants to wait 5 or 10 years, bro? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that? So, Yield Labs died. The guys left. And I was like, I was always this guy in 2020, 21 with the crazy ambition of like building the next big thing. But my other 3 kind of partners, it was not even a business. They're saying, Kevin, we're 35, 36, 37. We have kids. We already made it. We don't want to build another business. Do it on your own. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that on my own. Whatever. Crypto is too complicated. Well, when we all got wrecked, they left. And I was like, I have a YouTube channel with 4,000 subs that all got wrecked. So they wouldn't even watch videos anymore, because all the videos we talked about was Celsius and BlockFi and all these amazing protocols that would give you 5% yield, right? So people got wrecked. We got wrecked too. So I had this YouTube channel and I had X account with, I don't remember, a certain amount of followers, maybe 10K or I don't remember, 15. And so I just took both of them and then started the podcast from that, right? And so there's a bump at some point, late 2023, I think.
Yeah, I believe that's where it was.
Right. So that's a year after I started the podcast. So I have one of my best friends, he said, Kevin, stop. I was doing some online podcasts, right? It's easier. And I was telling him, like, it was, Kevin, stop this shit of online podcast. I was doing it every week, sometimes in studio, sometimes not. And so I think Bitcoin started to like kind of become like bigger. It was just shortly before the Bitcoin ETFs, early 2024, right? And so he said, Kevin, do everything in studio. And I was like, yeah, but if I want to get big people, they're in the US, whatever, it's going to be almost impossible. Kevin, shut the fuck up and do everything in studio and take a plane if you have to. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And we started to get like result like since that time. I mean, obviously compounded result, but yeah. So that's the kind of story that you can see on the chart.
Because I was like, yeah, what accounts for this? So you're definitely an advocate for doing things in studio. Like you would say that over
100%.
For sure.
That makes the whole no one in crypto. Like that's the advantage and the brand we built. Like this kind of premium media brand. No one in crypto is doing a podcast every week with the biggest people in crypto in studio. Why? Because it's impossible, almost. Because how many big people do you have in your industry? Maybe 100, but you need 52 per year. And they don't live in I live in Singapore. They don't live in Singapore, right? And so what does that mean? Plane, contacts, getting them in getting Michael Saylor in a studio, or Tom Lee or Brian Armstrong, which I'm supposed to do in a few weeks. But again, you never know, because last minute is... Getting them in an online Zoom meeting is already not easy. But getting their team to say yes, but then in studio, these people just fly around all the time. And I fly around. So like, if you want to make this happen, you need to have this kind of weird life where you take a lot of planes and...
Yeah.
But then...
Exactly how you got here today.
Absolutely. But then what? We have a conversation like that for 2 hours, right? And then you build something. And then if the production, the trailer, everything, right, afterwards... is so much better than anything else you see, then they will say, holy shit, that's good. And then what will they say? They will say, Kevin, can I sponsor your podcast? Like, we never went to one of them to ask, hey, do you want to be a sponsor? They came. And it's previous guests, because they're like, what is this? This is so different. This is so cool. This is amazing. We talk about other things. This is much more interesting. Again, you play a bit on their ego. You ask them questions about childhood, whatever. They see the thing is different. They're like, I want to sponsor that. So like, it makes all the difference completely.
Yeah, because I'll say I've noticed how I'm sure there's different like tweaks that you've made over time to improve the quality, make things better. One of those, I think the easiest example to to see is in your thumbnails, actually.
Mhm.
Went back and looked from the beginning, right to where that shift was. And it goes from basically, the Yield Labs era was almost like PowerPoint looking thumbnails. And then it switches into something much more explosive. You got a face on one side with a quote on the right. And it's been more and more refined over time. I think today it's like mainline. You have like the big word highlighted in yellow, and then it'd be a red or a black background. Like really stands out, really looks good. It kind of catches the eyes whenever you're scrolling by. And it's like that type of little by little, which kind of, it seems like that lines up in a way with your going from place to place, person to person, putting the work in and making these refinements in order to make it better.
Well, what did I say before? I don't know if it was recorded or not, but I said YouTube is two things: click-through rate, average watch view duration.
Yeah.
This is click-through rate. Like if you don't understand that you should spend time on your thumbnail to get people to click, you can. If I go and I record with Raoul Pal, I can record the best episode ever. If no one clicks, we get no views.
And that was one of your higher videos, right? I saw that.
Well, we got we did 3 times with him. The last one was I think it's the second most watched ever. Yeah. But we have some playbooks actually that at some point you understand the YouTube game. You're like, if I put this thumbnail with this title, and in the first 30 seconds of the trailer there is this sentence, we get the views. Like actually, it's a science. Like I mean that's how. Unfortunately, you need to play the YouTube game. But again, like if you don't spend time on understanding what works, and again, to understand that, you just look at what do the big podcasters do. What works? You just copy, like literally. The known crypto podcaster, you go Colin Samir, Steven Bartlett, all these guys, like what do they do? And then you just copy. There's a reason why they do. Mr. Beast is like the ultimate kind of example, right? Thumbnail, title, click-through rate is one of the most important things, right?
He's crazy about every fine little detail that comes
the
off.
ultimate test is, because I don't do the thumbnail myself, obviously, and the title. When I see it, the thumbnail, do I understand what the hell is going on within a millisecond? If yes, I'm like, and it's catchy, I'm like, good thumbnail. If not, I'm like, no. If there is too much text, not good. If there is some elements, there's the guest, right? We tried a lot of things, guest plus me, but like if you have 2 people, it's already like shit. Like the brain doesn't, you need to, right? If there is some other objects, it's from confusing the brain. Like because on the YouTube feed, like people just go so quick. There is no attention span. And it's the same on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Why do you need to record a podcast in studio? Because no one will watch a short that is recorded online with shit audio and visual quality. They'll just skip, right? So the rule is, how do you catch people's attention in a millisecond? It's the same when you do a tweet or a post or a story. The first 2 words or sentence needs to be very salesy, very like people stop. If they don't, lost, right? Attention. So like the thumbnail is exactly that, right? It's like the ultimate test. And when it's made by the team, I'm like, oh, cool, or oh, not good, right? And now on YouTube you have this A/B testing. You can put 3 or 4 thumbnail. You can put multiple titles. So that's more interesting. Now you still cannot put, I think, title that match. Like one title, one thumbnail, another title, another thumbnail. Like because the thumbnail, the title should be like, people watch the thumbnail, they're intrigued. Like if it's a bit negative, like, it's better, right? Or like what the fuck? And then the title, if it's a bit negative, even better. But like it's the kind of second step after the thumbnail, like to make people click. So it needs to be linked to the thumbnail, right? And so that's the most important. Once you got the people click, you're already kind of halfway there. And then can you keep their attention? If it's a very nerdy conversation, if the quality is not good, you're not going to keep them. Therefore, your video is not going to get recommended. Therefore, you're not going to get the views. So that's something that I think most crypto podcasts don't think about, don't care. Just like, oh yeah, they don't care. Probably because they make too much money by having almost no views anyway. So what's the incentive? I can be in my bedroom. I don't have to take planes every day, and I can have a really good yearly revenue by doing some low quality shit. Why? Because because if you're a brand and you want to be out there today, a crypto brand, what are the options in media? There's not that many. There is not that many, right? So like I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and I was talking to a crypto banter in Singapore, and he was saying we own the space, and I was like, what? And actually, I was thinking, I was like, why would he say something like that? Well, actually, it's because there's not that many options, right? You can have different approaches. Say, we're going to do a lot of KOLs, or like the big brands they did in the normal world. Like they would go with Kylie Jenner, and then it's too expensive, so they go to micro KOLs, and then see there's maybe better return on investment. But then, what do you look for? Do you look for optimization of what you sell? Do you look for branding? For example, I always tell our partners, for us, it's pure branding. Do you want to be associated with all these big people? Do you want me to make big people talk about your brand on the podcast? Do you, with Trezor, for example, we had Ben from Bybit 2 days after the Bybit hack. And so we talk about the Bybit hack and all that stuff, and we had like crazy views, and then we just place Trezor, the ad, just after the chapter. I think we talk about the thing after 10 minutes, and then we place Trezor, right? And so will you see the best conversion? Probably not, right? But like, do you want to have this association? And so it really depends on the game that you play. But the whole game basically is, what I understand more and more is like there's not many options for brands. There's a lot of brands with a lot of money. There's a lot of projects raising a lot of money, and attention is kind of scarce. And how do you get attention? Through media and distribution, and there's not many options basically. And so that's why, to finish like that, that's why there's a lot of low quality options that still make too much money today, and there's not an incentive for people to do like better quality. In my humble opinion.
Yeah. How much are you actually flying around to film your own episodes? How frequently?
Well, I'll give you an example of the last 2 weeks and the next 4 weeks. I was in Singapore. I recorded 16 podcasts. I got sick. The week after, I recorded 3 podcasts while sick. Then I got a bit better, which was earlier this week. On Monday, I recorded 3 podcasts again. On Tuesday, I took a plane. I went to Abu Dhabi. I got sick again because plane, all this shit, right?
Yeah.
I recorded a podcast in Abu Dhabi, a podcast in Dubai on Friday. I had a day to kind of recover, but still sick. I came here yesterday, which was a Sunday. We're Monday today. I'm doing this. I'm still kind of feeling sick, to be honest. Tomorrow there's a Trezor conference. Wednesday I'm recording with your CEO. Then I'm going to Amsterdam a couple of days to enjoy. Then I'm going to New York next week to record podcasts. Then I'm going to San Francisco for 5 days to record podcasts from the 6th to the 12th or whatever, 11th of November. Then I'm back to New York for a couple of days, 6 days to record podcasts. Then I'm back to Dubai to record podcasts. Then I'm in Singapore, and then I'll be like, okay, I have maybe 2-month break in terms of podcast recording, but we're going to be working on the business, right?
Yeah.
How do we grow? What are the plans for next year? All that stuff, right? And that's it. But then time flies, and then I need to record the next batch of podcasts. So in February, I'll go to Hong Kong. There's going to be Consensus. There's going to be Token, Dubai, April. And then I'm going to have to go another time to the US. So basically, I do like 2 to 3 world tour every year.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. World tour.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, because there's not that many big guests. And I want to have them in studio.
And when you're doing podcasts as frequently, like, how are you keeping things interesting when you're having, I would think, similar conversations?
No, that's the game, right? That's why it's not scalable, right? But I think there's the Y Combinator. They say do things that don't scale. You start from scratch every time. Every new conversation is starting from scratch, basically. So the first time I would have a guest on would be to understand more about that person. and their thesis, if it's an investor like Raoul Pal, for example.
Yeah.
The second time, I would try to understand much more, okay, it's been a year, whatever, how things evolved, etc. What is interesting? I'll get some personal stuff from you that you didn't get last time.
Mhm.
But I also get some stuff on like your framework now that interests people. It's more timely, right? And so every time you start from scratch again. And so every time you cannot just come with a bunch of questions. Maybe the introduction is kind of like similar. Who are you, etc.
Yeah.
But like, if I start to get the benchmark is, am I getting bored with my own conversations?
Mhm.
I mean, with my guests, right? Well, if I'm getting bored, it's because I'm asking boring questions.
Mhm.
If I always ask questions that interest me, probably it's going to interest people, right? And I think about what do people kind of want to hear too, because that's how you get the views and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And so, yeah. So basically, you need to put a lot of time in research and preparation every time.
One question that I had for you, I didn't realize how much time I spent already. We're actually getting towards the end of our time slot here,
Is it?
but yeah, it's like it's 1:40 so far. It's almost been I think almost an hour. But yeah, let me ask a couple other categorically different questions. This is the only one that it's a genuine question. It just has a cheesy setup. So like obviously your YouTube channel is called When Shift Happens. You've been doing it for 3 years now. Has anything changed about your own perspective? Like, has anything shifted in how you look at the world or look at Bitcoin from all the guests that you've been through, or any way that you've transformed over the past couple of years?
I think I realized that no one has a shit about an idea of what's going to happen in the shorter term, at least.
Yeah, moving forward.
Yeah. People don't know. They have their best guesses. I think I realized that the majority of, you have these big characters or these very rich people, or they're just normal people.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking with Mike Novogratz, and we were talking about literally like the fact that when they go to poop, everyone needs to put their pants down, right? Whether you're a billionaire or not.
Yeah. Same process.
It's the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they work very hard. They take risks. They got fucked a lot, right? You have to be able to go through that. There's no, it's a classic 10-year overnight success, right? First, like, it's going to take a lot of time. Second, you're going to get wrecked many times, whether you do investing, business, whatever. Are you able to push through? Are you able to survive intensity? It's like people say it's not. It's like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's actually like, I think it's like marathons where you sprint most of the time, one after the other. And how do you manage like the time where you can kind of recover? How do you not burn out? Like, that's the big thing, right? And burning out often doesn't even come from working too much. It comes from working on stuff that you don't like, right? But also, like, how do you not avoid health issues? I think a lot of people don't realize. I think what people don't see is, well, I'll give some examples. 3 examples, but there's many more. Maybe 4. One is Raoul Pal. You're out there, you're very public, you give some shouts and try to help people. And then when things goes to shit, people destroy you completely online. And then you disappear for a few weeks, and people don't realize how much your mental health can be impacted. And he was saying he spent a few weeks doing some yoga, and like he flew a friend of him from Spain just to do some yoga and meditation every day because he couldn't handle anymore.
This is what happened to him.
It was happened to him in 2022 after some of his calls. He was too optimistic, right, at the end of the cycle. Despite having amazing calls in 2020 on like when to enter Bitcoin, all that stuff, like people just destroy you, right? And then he was amazingly good at predicting, getting into Sol early in 2023, and then Sui and all that stuff. And now he's like getting bashed online again. People don't see that side. Jordi Alexander is a guy I had a few weeks ago on the podcast where we talk about why 10 million is not enough to retire. So this whole hurdle rate concept, he talks about that.
Yeah.
Well, this guy made a lot of money and understand all this stuff, but like we talk about these massive burnouts where he at some point he's working so much, he's sleeping 4 hours every 2 nights. So that's 4 hours every 48 hours, right? That's the level of intensity to like really make it, right? And then at some point he has like this burnout where he's for 2 or 3 days he's in his bed, he's paralyzed, he cannot move. So people will see this guy is so successful and all that stuff, but they don't see what goes into that, right? Non-crypto related, there is this podcaster called Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom, who just recently had this video where he talks about his health, where he has like depression, anxiety. It's like not related necessarily to his work, but probably the work intensity. Like it's very intense, 3 podcasts a week. Like it's insane, like crazy. And he has all this depression and anxiety and problem because of mold or whatever. People never see this side, right? They're like, oh, this guy has so many followers and he makes so much money and he's so successful. And like, this guy has the same struggle as you, or probably is able to take, or this guy or this girl, able to take way more pain than you could, which is why they're rewarded financially, right? Or by success factor that people kind of value as success factor. And I'll take my example. I'm not any of these people, but like, we built an amazing business. But I'm flying all the time. I'm sick very often. And I'm able to like go through. I can do a 3-hour podcast with the co-founder of Ethereum while being with a fever and flu, and no one will notice. And just after taking a plane from Dubai to Lisbon the day before and being jet lagged and having a bunch of interviews the week before, I'm just able to go through it. Like, and actually, if I look at my best podcast, probably half of them I was sick while recording. Because, you know, you fly everywhere all the time. You're in these planes. You're in these conferences. Everyone comes. Hey, Kevin, shake your hand. They bring their kind of disease from, you know, you have 30 people from all over the world. Like, you can only get sick. Like, but if I'm sick, I need to continue, right? I cannot stop because otherwise there's no podcast anymore. I cannot stop taking the plane, all that stuff. So, like, I'm able to do all this stuff. Even today, I feel kind of sick, but I'm still here, right? So, I think what I realized is everyone is normal, but they have very high tolerance to take pain. And when most people would complain or say, I can't go further, they just go. And actually, I saw this morning, it was on Chris Williamson. I forgot his name. Galloway, Scott Galloway. And it was just a 8-minute clip, and he's saying it's an advice to like people in their 20s and 30s what should do, and he basically says you need to go out there, find your mate, blah blah blah, fail a lot, all that stuff, and you need to push really hard as a man to provide for your family, etc., build businesses, all that stuff. And one thing he said, the moment you push so hard that you feel that you can't go any longer, you're actually only 30% of where you're able to go. And so it's something I realized because I was like, you can become a machine through time, basically. And what seemed like something crazy or too much work or too much intensity 6 months ago actually became norm now. And you're like, this is easy. Actually, I did these 16 podcasts in a week. And like, it's because another week I had done 11. And before that, another week I had done 7. And out of the 16, one of the day was 6 podcasts, right? Plus a sponsor meeting, plus a private dinner, plus blah, blah, blah. And at some point, like, yeah, I did it before. Or like, or it was just a bit less. I can do that, no problem. And so you can always go much further than you think. Obviously, the goal is not to die and to get sick too often, but like, it's just about that. You want to take the pain. Can you sacrifice relationships? Right? Like, a lot of holidays, having fun, like just like, no, I cannot go out and drink because like I need to take planes and I'm jet lagged and I need to have my brain working for this podcast. And when I go to a conference, I don't go to any parties. I don't go to any side event. I don't go to the main event either. I'm just in the studio all the time. Right? So like, it's just priorities and what you decide. And so that's what I learned, I would say, like over the last 2 years, talking to all these people, they just have like their priorities straight. And they're very focused, and they say no to everything. Like you basically need to say no to almost everything.
You have to be selective. Places you choose to spend your time.
Yeah. People, place, time, absolutely.
Well, I'll wrap things up here because I didn't realize we'd actually been talking for so long, but because we do have to move for our event that we have tomorrow. But yeah, one last question here for you: do you have a dream guest? Is there someone that you would like to have on the show that you just haven't gotten, or have you been through it all? You said like there's so many big names, or is there someone you still want to snag at some point?
Oh, there's a few we need to do. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, but it's supposed to happen very soon. We have a date, so
it's still technically a dream.
Well, I got to a point where if it doesn't happen, I don't really care anymore, right? CZ from Binance, but we're also kind of close, so we'll see. It should happen. Balaji, I think it's possible, so have the right contacts. I just haven't pushed yet. Michael Saylor, I'm in touch with his chief of staff. She said yes. It's just a question of like when, how.
It sounds like all these things are happening. Like at some point it's going to happen.
I would say Trump would be, or Elon Musk. Like if you build a podcast and your goal is not to have Trump or Musk, like why are you building a podcast?
Yeah, that's about as big as name gets, pretty much.
Yeah. Like after I got everyone in crypto, like who is like has an angle in crypto but is not crypto purely, like and who is huge, it's them basically.
Well, we pretty much end every episode with what we call the awkward handshake. So it's because we always have these mics here and we're at this new angle. It should work, but you kind of have to reach around awkwardly to get it out. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
That's the end for everything. So thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time for us. And I guess we will see you at the event, which by the time this episode comes out will be in the past. So
absolutely,
people can go watch us there too if they want to.
Amazing.
Yeah,
thanks,
man. Yeah, we will see you around.
Great.